Mirasee.
Before, we could only address that segment of people who specifically wanted to be dedicated course creators. Now we can also address the segment of people who want to use courses in some aspects of their business, which is likely some type of coaching or consulting or expertise giving business, but they don't want to build it all themselves.
Hello and welcome to Blowing Up, the podcast that shows entrepreneurs like you how other businesses exploded in the best possible way, of course. I'm Linda Claire Puig, the founder and CEO of Six Figure Newsletters, and I'm here with my co-host, Ari Eni, the head of strategy for the ACES Business Acceleration Program at Mirasee.
Hey there, Linda.
In each episode of Blowing Up, we showcase an entrepreneur whose business, yes, blew up. It experienced what seemed to be a sudden success. But as we all know, that kind of success is not random or a fluke. The company employed a specific strategy that caused its rapid rise in revenue. So today we're going to dive into that strategy so that you can learn from it and determine how you might apply elements of it to your business. In this episode, we look at a quite successful but not so often used strategy of providing done-for-you products. And we're talking less here about done-for-you services like web design or copywriting, and more about done-for-you products that multiple people can use. Our guest is Abe Crystal, co-founder and CEO of Ruzuku, an online course delivery platform for entrepreneurs, authors, coaches, and small businesses. Abe is also co-founder of Instant Courses, which are done-for-you online courses that people can drop right into their business. Welcome to Abe. Now let's jump right into the conversation.
We've worked with people who want to create online courses for a long time. And that's a strategy of sharing your expertise and serving customers that works really well for certain people. It tends to be people that enjoy sitting down and writing course materials or scripting and recording videos or coming up with interesting discussion prompts. Like that's their jam and they enjoy doing it. But there's a lot of people that really get stuck on that part, right? They may be a coach, a consultant, a service provider in some industry, and they have clients they want to help learn, but they're just not comfortable or don't enjoy that course creation process. They may not have a background in curriculum design and creating content. Or they may just flat out not have the time to do it, right? Like it's super time consuming to structure and create high quality courses. And so what we learned, this was a discovery for me. It was not something that I always understood or was aware of in the market, but there's a lot of people who want to offer courses that don't have the time or the skill set or just the inclination to do it themselves. And so there's a big gap to be filled there.
The big problem is that then they don't.
Exactly.
And what happens when they don't? Their own business doesn't grow in the ways that they want it to. The people who could use their wisdom and the learning that a course provides don't get it. So then you decided to start offering some done-for-you courses.
Well, I don't want to take credit for that insight or discovery. It wasn't mine. That insight really came from Danny Eni, who was looking at the landscape of online courses and content and seeing that gap there. And then we began discussing ways to address it together. Honestly, I was probably more skeptical than affirming of that insight initially, I guess.
You couldn't understand why people would want to have courses created for them. Can you explain your understanding now about why that is?
Well, the way I see it now is there are some people whose whole business is developing some kind of proprietary method or approach and teaching it to other people through courses. But a lot of other people they're not first and foremost course creators. The largest segment is coaches. We've seen that coaches benefit from courses in a number of ways, right? They can use them as part of their marketing and lead generation. They can offer courses that attract clients and pull them into their coaching. But they can also use it to have more robust offerings, right? Like rather than just having individual coaching, they can expand to offering courses of different types. They might use the structured content in courses delivered on an online course platform to make their coaching more scalable and more leveraged, right? So moving from just having sessions with clients to having an online program that their clients can go through and then work with the coach as needed, which is a lot more scalable. Allows them to then expand into other offerings like a membership program, for example, for their clients to flow into, which can make their business a lot more scalable as well. So there's a wealth of opportunities, for coaches to use courses in a way that's complementary to their core coaching. But again, they're not necessarily wanting to build those themselves, or even if they want to, they may not have the time to. So, that was really the lesson learned, or the insight for me, is that the way that the coaches could use courses is really underserved.
So, Abe, when you made this aha, you had this realization and then started offering these done-for-you programs. What happened with your business?
It was an expansion of who we could serve. Before, we could only address that segment of people who specifically wanted to be dedicated course creators. Now we can also address the segment of people who want to use courses in some aspects of their business, which is likely some type of coaching or consulting or expertise giving business, but they don't want to build it all themselves.
Let us in on what happened with your business when you started offering done-for-you products.
Yeah, it grew substantially across 2 phases, right? The first phase was more of a pilot where we tested out this idea with content that was already out there and commercially available, and that it was successful in the sense that we were seeing people buy it. So we validated that there was demand, but because it was a smaller scale offer and promotion, it didn't dramatically change the business. But then based on that, we invested more to build out more content and to do larger launches. And so that had a much bigger impact. Then we tried to understand better, how are they using it? What are all the different applications? So we developed a customer lifecycle model of the 5 phases of how people can work with their customers and use courses in working with their customers. And so we then use that model in our marketing to help people see the value of the approach.
So it sounds like a big part of it has been essentially educating the market on how you would use this, why you need this in addition to what you're already doing.
Yeah, it's very much an educational process. Most coaches, consultants, service providers are not aware that these products exist. They don't understand why they would be so beneficial.
For someone who has a lot of different things that they could potentially do as a done-for-you service, which is the right path? Where should they start?
That basically goes back to just understanding who your customer is and their needs. There's entire sections of the bookstore dedicated to that. But if people need a resource, reading the Lean Startup would be a good start.
So what I want to underscore is the difference between done-for-you service and done-for-you product. Service is you doing something for them, graphic design, or helping them load up their courses, or doing their resume for them, that type of thing. That's a done-for-you service. A done-for-you product is something completely different. And I am of the opinion that a lot of people in our market, coaches, consultants, expert-based business owners, have done-for-you products in them that they just don't know about. So can you talk a little bit to that? Have you spent much time thinking about how other people can put done-for-you into their business?
Honestly, you probably have more than I have. But I think people can draw some inspiration from the fact that these products are gaining traction, right? Like people want them and are buying them. It really comes back to understanding your customer, because it's not the right solution in all cases.
True.
In some contexts, it might be more appropriate, for example, to have a productized service of some kind, right? So if you're a graphic designer, you might offer people monthly or quarterly subscription where they basically get a flat amount or even unlimited design work from you within certain parameters. Or if your specialty is editing blog posts to make them really effective and high converting, right? You may have a service where you do that for people that they just subscribe to. It all depends on what the customer wants. For someone who's trying to apply this type of model to their own business, they need to look at what are the unsolved problems for their client, and then see if done-for-you product or service or some combination of them is the right solution.
So the products, the courses are editable. So it's essentially the white label course that they can then take and do what they want with, and they just use that as a starting point.
That's right.
Yeah, same with our articles, our ready-to-go articles. You take them and then modify them however you wish. And that comes from, I don't know if your experience is like this, Abe, but mine certainly is. It's much easier to edit a full page than to start with the absolutely blank one.
Oh, for sure. People have emailed me and told me that even if they're working on their own course idea, they'll start by browsing through the instant courses to get ideas for structure, to get ideas for activities, or even take bits and pieces and copy those into their own course rather than starting from scratch. And it truly is much easier if you don't have to face the intimidating blank page in front of you.
Yeah, when I think about other people incorporating Done For You into their business, I always encourage people to go back to exactly where you said, Abe, and that is, who's your audience? And can you find a problem that you can do for them where they don't have to do the work, and they will bless you for that. Thank you for that. Buy it, right? Are there any other tips that you have for people who might be considering offering Done For You in their own business?
You also have to have a way to market it, right? Like in our context, just adding done-for-you courses to our existing marketing channels, like our website and organic traffic, for example, would not have been sufficient because people aren't coming to us looking for that. They're coming looking to, okay, I want to build my course based on my own content. So we actually had to reach audiences that we weren't reaching. And that required having new partnerships. So I guess that would be one suggestion is it's not necessarily enough to identify a problem and have a solution to it with a done-for-you service or product. You also have to be able to reach the people who have that problem.
A health coach creates a tracker. An organizer creates a home organizer book. Like there really are lots of different ways that you can add to. But what you said is to make sure that you understand whether your existing client base would absolutely gravitate toward that or whether you need to reach out further.
Even if your current clients are a good fit, it doesn't mean that just adding a done-for-you offering is going to have a significant impact. Because, for example, if you're a coach, you might have a healthy income with a relatively small number of high-end clients. But what that means is then if you add a done-for-you product that's not that expensive and a few of your boutique set of clients buy it, well, it's just not that much revenue. So, it would only actually move the needle for you if you were able to go out and reach people beyond your clientele.
It sounds like the key thing here is that it is a leverageable product. It's nice that you can sell essentially the same thing to hundreds or even thousands of people. But the fact that hundreds or thousands of people can buy it doesn't mean that they will. And so if you're not going to be putting in the effort to actually get it in front of them, not worth even creating it in the first place. Are there any places within your own process that were really challenging as you were developing them that you think would be useful for people to know about?
The investment required to build some kind of done-for-you product is going to vary a lot, I would guess, based on the domain and what type of product you're creating.
Yeah, sure.
I've never created one aside from courses, but I can tell you that creating done-for-you courses is a lot of work. It takes a team of specialists. We wound up working with a mix of instructional designers, researchers, writers, editors, visual designers. It's very sort of multidisciplinary effort. So that means it requires both finding and paying those people, but it's also just a lot of management to keep all those pieces coordinating and moving together. And that's why I would describe it as a sort of more advanced business strategy is that only makes sense if you have the team and resources to do that. Whereas in some other area, you might be able to identify a done-for-you offering that is much simpler, right? That you could do yourself. I think that's going to depend on the niche or market that you're in.
Generally speaking, you wouldn't start your business and think, okay, I'm going to create a done-for-you empire.
Well, I guess, again, I would distinguish between applying done-for-you products in the context of growing and scaling your existing business versus researching and innovating and creating your own done-for-you offering. The latter, I think, is a more advanced strategy.
Exactly.
The former, I think, is something that any service provider should look at doing.
Right.
So let's talk. As someone who has sold done-for-you products for years, I really appreciated the nuances that Abe brought to this discussion. He's a really smart man. If you'd like to explore adding done-for-you to your business, remember to look at the unsolved problems your clients and prospective clients have and assess whether a done-for-you product or service or some combination of the two is the right solution for them. You're looking to see if you can save them time, energy, and or money by using your done-for-you offers. Thank you very much to Abe for being with us. Be sure to download Abe's gift to you, which is immediate access to a course on creating your own course. It includes step-by-step guidance from the learning experts at Ruzuku, who've helped create and launch hundreds of successful online courses and tons more. Get Abe's course and start learning right away by going to blowingup.rocks/Abe. That's blowingup.rocks/Abe. ABE.
This episode of Blowing Up was produced by Linda Claire Puig. Cynthia Lam is our managing producer and Danny Eni our executive producer. Post-production by Post Office Sound. To make sure you catch all the really great episodes of Blowing Up, follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you're listening right now. And if you like the show, we'd love it if you could leave us a starred review or share the show with a friend. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.